Hello and welcome to the Education on Fire podcast. The place where we share creative and inspiring learning in our schools. Season 6, Episode 97. Hello, welcome back to the Education on Fire podcast. My name is Mark Taylor. This is the finale of our Season 6 English and Literacy season, and I just wanted to thank everyone who's been involved, all the wonderful guests who've been on the show sharing their expertise and their insights and their inspiration as they were teaching children either online or through their own classrooms on a day-to-day basis. It's just been such a wonderful thing for me to be able to explore with them and to share with you, and I think it's something which is a real gift, and I'm incredibly grateful for them sharing their time and all the wonderful things that they've got to offer everybody. And I think as we all start to share and listen more, it just builds up our bank of knowledge and understanding of exactly what education can look like, especially in a child-centred idea of what that is. And that really brings me on to a big thank you to our sponsor, the National Association for Primary Education. I mean, they speak for young children and all who live and work with them. And I know it's a really important factor, this child-centred idea of learning. And I think some of the episodes that we've had during the season really show that, really capturing the imagination, running with some ideas. And as we've heard, it's taken them all the way to the other side of the world or to the European Parliament to change law when we were speaking to Simon Hunt. So these things have really big benefits and big opportunities for our children. So thank you very much, Jeanette, for their constant support, and I really appreciate what they're doing as an organisation and also what they're doing for this podcast network. I urge you to go and check out exactly what they're doing by going to their website, which is www.nape.org.uk. That's nape, nape.org.uk. I'd also like to thank teachingpacks.co.uk. They've been supporting us on the blog. Every week I've been able to upload some of their resources free of charge so that you could just go and download them and use them within your classrooms. And they've also had the opportunity to give you the chance to join their membership at a discount as well. If you go to teachingpacks.co.uk/education on fire, they give you the opportunity there to do that. So if you've enjoyed the things they've been giving you for free, please go and check that out and make the most of that opportunity. Mark Warner there's a wonderful supporter of the show, and I really appreciate all he's been doing with me. So I really wanted to tell you that actually we're going to be going through and just thanking everybody from each episode, and I'm going to have a link to all these episodes on the show notes, so that way you'll be able to just click it all the way through directly. So if you go to educationonfire.com/097, then this episode should pop up and there'll be links to every single episode that have been in the season. So that's the best way of doing it, educationonfire.com/097, and that should pop up with our end of season finale. So we've talked to some wonderful people. We started off back with Dominic Traynor from the LitFilmFest, and that really was great, just understanding how you can get in, how you can use film, how you can get that idea of speaking in this sort of new 21st century way, and actually really getting the chance to engage with the children with the new technology and actually having a real focus, which I think is really such a fantastic thing for them all. We also had Bryn Llewellyn from Tactivate talking about how he's managed to incorporate English into sport and movement, and I know his big sort of move and learn is a really big thing for him, and I think when you start to realise that you can put all these things in this sort of cross-curricular way, it's going to be such a powerful thing for children to get out of the classroom, to move, and also to, especially boys, which we often know are going to, that moving around is a really important thing, and if you do have boys in your class that you want to really start to understand, I have on the Learning on Fire podcast just released an episode with Boys Alive, which is from Janet Allison, and we were talking exactly that, how to understand boys and how they fit in your classroom. I really enjoyed my conversation from the Enchanted Wanderers with Emmy and Taran, talking about some of the wonderful circus skills, things they do, some of the workshops they're doing, and of course they said they were coming back to the UK soon, so do check out that episode to see how they can come into your school, and the fact that they were also, as storytellers, giving you the opportunity for them actually to do a talk of some of the stories that you're producing in school, which they'll put on their YouTube channel. So that's a really interesting thing for you to be able to get involved in, and for them to help you, which is wonderful. I also like the companies that are really part of this education transformation, really. EducationCity, we chatted to Hayley Taylor, talking about, how some of the people involved, real educators, actually trying to make a difference on a day-to-day basis for us all as teachers and educators, taking some of the time out, actually having the chance to understand the progress of how everyone's learning. And I think some of these things are really, really key for taking some of the stress off of some of the workload that some of us are doing in schools. And so I think it's a really great thing that we can actually start to understand how we're all working together to build this new framework of what education will look like moving forward. I love chatting to Simon Hunt. His whole discussion about poetry, how he started it off, how he took it all the way to the European Court and changed law and all that kind of thing was just so inspiring and so wonderful to listen to. And I really appreciate his time, and I've had a chance to chat to him a few times since then, and it really is such an opportunity, I think, for us to really understand if we just go with the flow, if we actually just take these opportunities and just take a bit of a risk sometimes, it really does pay off in a massive way. Well, I chatted to Melissa Webb all the way over from California. It's great just to hear some of these online support that you can have in terms of going that extra mile if you want to do it yourself, or if you're homeschooling, having that opportunity as well. And Melissa's very, very, I think her structure and her idea of how she put all those things together really made sense to me. So hopefully if that's something which really spoke to you, it's something you can really make the most of. It's always a privilege when you hear someone like Professor Teresa Kremen talk, and because I was at the Christian Schiller lecture that Nate produced each year, this year was in the Oxford Brookes University. Hopefully you've got a chance to have listened to that lecture, which was our episode 94, and it was entitled Reading for Pleasure, and it really was not just that understanding of how reading is so important for children, but also how it can really affect in a positive way your relationship with the children and how that can affect your classroom. And that was just a privilege to listen to someone who's so passionate and some great ideas and insights there. It's always wonderful getting Peter Cancel, my education expert's idea of what's gone on as an ex-head teacher and knowing exactly how these things fit into schools. He's such a passionate person and able to sort of articulate lots of the things which we've been covering in these seasons, and I really appreciate every time he comes on and gives us the chance to really talk in a focused way about all these seasons, and I thank him very much for supporting me on an ongoing basis. Last week, of course, we had Danica Chapman from Purple Mash and the Too Simple Company, which many of you will have Purple Mash in your schools and that opportunity. And it's great to get the insight into how some of these organisations who have like a daily impact on our lives, we start to get an understanding of that, and I think you start to get the idea of how the personalities within the company come across, and that's usually what gives us that kind of nice warm feeling that we're being looked after, and the opportunities and also the products that they're creating just make life so good for us and really inspire our children as they go further forward. So thanks again to Nate for being our sponsor. Thanks very much to Mark Warner and everyone at teachingpacks.co.uk, and thank you all for listening, and I appreciate your support and you getting in contact and allowing me to spread their passion through my passion and giving you something hopefully to think about that you can take back into your classroom, back into your schools, back into your life to really help you and the children that we're supporting. We're going to be back in the next few weeks talking music. Our primary Music on Fire membership site is up and running, and we've got a few great things going on with that which I want to share with you, and a few interviews I've done from some of the events I've been to in recent times. So that's what's going to be happening over the next few weeks, and then we'll be back with a brand new season just after that. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll chat again soon. Thanks for listening to the Education on Fire podcast. For more information of each episode and to get in touch, go to educationonfire.com. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire.